I had yesterday an awesome guest, Elizabeth Greene from Jungler. She's an expert in PPC optimization and especially with bulk file operations. And this is a topic that not many people are talking about, or you have enough information available online. And I'm very happy to share this information with Elizabeth, explaining how to work with bulk files and what are the benefits working with it to be much more efficient, productive, and be ahead of your competitors in PPC, an area that is super important and relevant. Now, before we're moving into the video, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel and you click the bell, so for every new video that I upload, you can get yourself notified and update. And also go to sourcing-monster.com to get updates through our newsletters, updates and news that I don't share here. And let's start with this awesome video. Let's welcome our new guest for today, Elizabeth Greene from jungler.com. She's one of the few experts that actually knows a lot about bulk files, an area that many people struggle with. And I actually found about her when I was looking for info about bulk files on YouTube. So I'm sure we're all going to learn many new cool things today. Welcome again, Elizabeth.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This will be a
Yeah,
blast.
of course. Could you share a little bit yourself about Jungler and how you became an expert in Amazon PPC?
Yeah, so as far as Jungler, we are a full service Amazon advertising agency. So if you don't want to touch your ads, hire us. But we've been around as a company over 2 years now. And as far as myself, I kind of fell into it, to be honest. And then I found out, weirdly enough, I really enjoy spreadsheets and writing formulas and coming up with ways to view data. And so through that, discovered a love of bulk files and all the good back-end stuff and haven't looked back.
So it's from trying working with the Amazon interface that you kind of didn't like it and try to look for alternatives, like how it actually you discover the bulk files and working with it.
Yeah, so when you get started in Amazon advertising, your first question is going to be, how do I do this? Because you're still trying to figure out what's keywords, what are match types. And then when you finally find your footing and you kind of have your rhythm, you're not looking for ways to do things, you're looking for ways to do things faster. And that's where bulk files come in. So I was the same way, starting out how everyone does. Some people switch on to software and leverage that. Software can be a great tool, however, it's a tool. And with bulk files, because they're spreadsheet based, if you understand spreadsheets and you understand the power of what spreadsheets can do, the things you can do with them are astronomically more than you can do with software. There is a learning curve. That's why I put out a lot of content, because when I first opened up my first bulk wall, I'm not gonna lie, I sat there staring at it and I I can show you guys. I have one pulled up. When you first see it, it's gonna freak you out. Don't let it freak you out. Like I said, there is a learning curve, but once you get the learning curve, you'll start figuring out ways to do things faster and faster and more efficiently. So they can be very powerful if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and including myself, I was just starting to dig into it a couple of months ago, and it was very intimidating. And like I told you before the call, I really consider myself as someone with 12 years of experience with PPC. So working with not bulk files, but with PPC and the high spending budget, it's not something that I'm scared of. But once I downloaded the reports from with thousands of keywords and search terms and all of that, and I'm like hit the upload button and then I see all these errors. So it is a little
Yes.
intimidating, but like you said, with everything new, there is a learning curve, and I'm sure we're going to learn some new things here. Now I do have a couple of questions about the bulk files. Why Amazon sellers that managing their PPC should use bulk files? You mentioned that it's not about doing new things; it's about doing the things in maybe faster or more efficient way.
Yes.
Do you think it's recommended to everyone? Who is good for?
I think I would say yes, with the caveat of you need to understand the system you're working in. So if I was to give like a brief snapshot of what a bulk file is, it's a 2D look at all of your campaigns in a spreadsheet. And so the benefit of this, if you are still managing your advertising manually, you still have to go into your account. You see the top line, all your campaigns, and then you have to click into your campaigns. And then if you want to go to the ad group, you have to click in the ad group, click on targeting, and then you can see all the keywords. Then you can make changes. But you still have to click into every single one of those boxes. You can select them all if you want to do straight percentage. There are a couple things you can do faster in the interface, but it's still very manual and very tedious. And when you start to scale up to multiple products and multiple campaigns, it becomes very unmanageable, and it's very, very easy for things to just slip through the cracks. So that's the beauty of looking at things in a bulk file, because it's a spreadsheet. You can apply filters, you can sort, you can look at all of your keywords condensed and go down the list. And then you can actually make changes to those individual keywords. For instance, if I wanted to change my bids, increase everything by 20%,
Yeah.
I could probably do that maybe in 10 or 15 minutes using a bulk file, versus if I tried to do that in Campaign Manager, that would get ridiculous. Now, why I think it's a good idea to understand the interface is you can quickly change things in a bulk file, but if you don't understand what everything is and maybe why you're applying those changes, I wouldn't recommend going into your campaigns and upping every single bid by 20%. I mean, you can, but it's not something I would recommend doing. So if you already have a system and you already kind of know how you want to adjust your bids, or maybe you have some basic rules you go by, you can actually use, or even formulas if you want to get completely ninja with it. You can apply formulas, change everything, re-upload that, and then those changes will be created inside your campaigns. And so you can kind of start to see how this really, really speeds up your process.
Nice, nice. So, yeah. So I think also, if you have like one or two products, not like less than five, six, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. You can make things much faster, and sometimes the Amazon interface, you have like 50 campaigns per page, and with the bulk files, it's much more robust, much more responsive than Seller Central, and you just apply the filter, and it's like bam, very quick. I like the fact that it's very responsive and fast. Now you mentioned something about formulas. It's a part of my questions, but I'm really curious now that you're expert with bulk files, you know many things and you have so much experience with it. Do you have like set of formulas that you save or apply like each week or each period of time, like how you save yourself time? Because let's say, for example, you want to see all the like keyword or search phrases that had 50 clicks in the last 30 days with no conversion, and maybe possibly add them as a negative. So instead of having the formula each time, is there any like I know in Google Sheets you can save a macro and then you apply it and then it works. I don't know how it works with Excel. Is there anything like that there?
Well, yeah. So we have Excel macros built out and things on our backend. So the beauty of working in spreadsheets, and here it's helpful to have some spreadsheet knowledge. So when I first got started, I could do like equals this column. I mean, that was the extent of, and I realized that a spreadsheet can do addition. But once you start really digging, and to be honest, I find it fun. I will happily code a spreadsheet on a Saturday evening and be happy as a clam. Not everyone's like that. I get that. So don't think that if you can't do that you're not fully utilizing things. But when I say formulas, I mean you can write your own formulas if you want to. One of the best formulas to get started with is an if formula. An if formula says, if this happens, perform this action. If this is not happening, so it's a true or false statement. If, you can do this, and you can, I mean, if you're really digging into it, you can layer if formulas, or, I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't want to get
a
too
little
in the
more
weeds
advanced. Yeah,
there.
it might
But
confuse people. Yeah. But yeah, great. for the bulk files functionality, is it something that, it's open to everyone, or you have to like enroll, or like,
Nope.
for me it's open, I know, but I wasn't sure, like,
Yeah, if you are running Amazon advertising, you have access. So if
yeah,
you
that,
go inside the ad console, the left pop-out menu, you'll see something called bulk files. You can go click there, and you can generate a bulk file. So on the left-hand side, you can select a date range, uncheck the little box, campaign items with 0 impressions. If you have that checked,
okay,
the bulk file that you generate
uh-huh,
will not include any keywords that did not get a single impression within whatever date range you select. So if you want to look at keywords that you're not getting impressions on, you might want to uncheck that. Request it. It will populate beneath there. Depending on how much data you have, it could take a second. And then you'll see a little blue download up here. Once it's ready, click it. You can download it to your computer, open it up in whatever spreadsheet software you want, Excel, Google Docs. Google Docs will break down if you have too much data. So Excel, if you have a very, very large account, go with Excel. Google Docs is nice for storing, or Google Sheets
yeah,
connected to Drive is
yeah,
good for storing.
yeah. So if you work with, big files, huge files, yeah, like it's gonna be glitchy, so
It'll just break down. It's half of them, like some of our larger accounts, we can't even open the file in Google.
Mhm.
So
Okay, I know that you prepared some example of a file. Maybe, visually it will be easier to, for people to actually see what we're talking about. Would you like maybe to share the screen so we can take a look on, the basic stuff, like how to add negatives, how to increase bits, some basic functionalities that you can do with bulk files?
yes. So I will share my screen, and what you're going to see is if you generate this file, this is what's going to appear when you download and open it up. So maybe if I walk you through it, you won't have to freak out like I did.
Yeah.
But let me go through. So this is what you're going to be looking at when you download it. And you can see why, if you don't understand what this looks like, it looks like a heck of a lot of numbers and letters, and you don't know what's what.
Yeah.
I think it would be good to give a basic overview. So like I said before, this is basically your entire advertising account in a spreadsheet. You get access
Amazing.
to everything. Now, the one thing you will note is that this data is only going to be for whatever date ranges you selected when you downloaded the report. So it's a good idea to be specific with your date ranges. If you just want to take a peek at it, you just want to download it and poke through it, as long as you don't upload this file with whatever changes you've made, you're not going to hurt anything.
Yep.
So if you just want to download it, click around, nothing's going to happen. You could just familiarize yourself with this.
Nice.
But so we're looking at a 2D version, and the way you can tell which level you're looking at is through this column B, which is called record type. So depending on what is contained in this record type will tell you what data is on this line. So each line is going to be a different level. For instance, this one's record type says campaign. So this tells me that this is all of the campaign data. Now, I did change the campaign names. This is an actual bulk file with everything changed. So right here, I can see this is my campaign name. Now this one's been archived. And then, so depending on what the row is, that's what the data, what
Is going to apply.
level, yes. And then the different columns tell you what information this cell contains for this row.
Yep.
For instance, this is a campaign. So under campaign, this is campaign name. So this is campaign 1.
So that will be different to people that don't really understand. Like, she changed the data because it's a real file, but when you download it, it will show like different names, not the same ones, of course.
Correct. Yeah. So it will be for your account, your data, and the date ranges you selected. And so I would say the basic thing that is very helpful to know about filtering a bulk file is, so I've already applied a filter over the top of this, so I can go down and I can filter by things. If you wanted, for instance, to see all of your campaigns, you want to know what campaigns am I running? I can clear, and then I can only select
Okay.
my campaign rows. And if I click OK, then now I'm looking at every single one of my campaigns that I have in my account.
Yep. Yep. And then you can also add another filter, or show me all of those that are active.
Yes. And so if I go over here, now the status columns are also a good thing to know.
Yes.
So over here under campaign status, we have the archived, paused, and enabled. The two basic ones you'll probably see is enabled and paused.
And pausing.
And the other thing to know about bulk files is the formatting and like how you word things is very, very specific. So for instance, if I wanted to change something here, one thing I can do is I can enable this campaign. If I misspelled enabled,
Yep.
that it wouldn't process.
It won't process and you will get an error. Yeah.
Yes. And so if you're trying to make changes and you want to be very specific, what you can do is you can just download a bulk file and then maybe just copy paste these things.
Yes.
For instance, one other thing you can see is the bidding strategy. So if you want to know what bidding strategy you're using under the bidding strategy column, because I'm looking at the campaign row, I'm not going to see this at the ad group or the keyword because they don't need a bidding strategy. But I can see what I'm using here, down only fixed bids. And then you see how this one like has parentheses. It's very, very specific. So
Yep.
for things like that, I even just copy paste it. I know what it is, but just to make sure that I'm getting it correct, you can just copy paste.
Is there any, like, every single column that you have here, you can change it, even the bidding strategy, the placement, you can just put the new value there. Like for example, I don't see that you have there up and down. You only have dynamic,
Right.
down only, and fixed. So I can just I can copy like the exact term, of course, for up and down, put it there, and when I upload it, it will update the campaign.
Yes.
Very cool.
So the things you can change for the most part are things that you can already change in Campaign Manager. The only thing is you can't change, I wish you could, you cannot change campaign names or you can't change ad group names.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Very nice.
But you can change, for instance, my campaign daily budget. If I wanted to change the daily budget, this is $13.05. Maybe I want to put $20. If I change this and then re-upload this file, that change will occur. Of course, the campaign type is already set. I can't change it from auto to manual. I can, however, change this end date. For instance, some of these have end dates. If I wanted to put a specific date I would like it to end, I can do that.
Yep.
Or these ones that are checked blank, it means there's no end date.
Forever. Yep.
Let me see what else would be good to know. And then the other thing you can do is anything on the status. So for instance, campaign status. Now, if it's archived, if you know, this is why it's helpful to understand how the platform works, because if you understand archive campaigns, you can't unarchive a campaign.
Okay.
So that would not process. You can't get around that through bulk files. But pause and enabled campaigns, I mean, you can turn things off and on in Campaign Manager, so you can do that as well through a bulk file.
I usually just pause or enable.
Yeah.
I never archive. When you actually archive a campaign?
I never. This is an old account and had a bunch of
Okay.
old campaigns that somebody else archived. I wouldn't ever archive a campaign.
Okay, makes sense. What are the most common things that people do? Adding negative, changing the bids, like these are the main things that you very powerful doing with it.
The main thing I would say is bid changes. If you're still doing that manually, the best thing to do is bid changes, and the way to find that is if I hit clear here. So what I'm looking to do is I want to condense all of my things I'm bidding on, and I want to only take a look at the things that are enabled. So these are the filters I use. So you can look at keyword and product targeting. Keywords are keywords. Product targeting is the ASINs, and I believe it might also be the autos, if I'm remembering correctly. Then the other thing I would want to do, because you want to look at anything that's enabled, so I would go to campaign status. I would uncheck paused because I don't want to look at paused campaigns. Doesn't matter if I change bids or not. I want to uncheck pause. This is ad group status. So this applies to all my ad groups. I don't care about looking at paused ad groups. And then under status, this applies to the individual keyword or the product I'm advertising on. I want to undo paused. Now, the other thing you want to clear would be under here, match type. Because notice here, there's campaign negatives here. So if I just go here, and this is Google Sheets, Excel's a little bit weird about just typing things and deselecting, but I can just hit negative and then just clear
Yeah,
everything with a negative in
because
it.
you don't
And
adjust bits for negative keywords. Yeah.
right, correct. Yeah, so what I've done here is I've looked at, I have now filtered everything I'm bidding on in my account. And over here, column K, and I'm going to freeze. I like to freeze the top row.
Yeah,
So when you scroll,
view freeze.
yeah, you know what's what. Because I'm in these all the time and I still would have to scroll back up.
Yeah.
So now I can look at my, see impressions, clicks, spend, orders, sales, and ACOS. So for instance, if I wanted to go into my campaign, everything I'm advertising, what's my highest ACOS? I could go here, highest to lowest. I immediately see, and obviously that one needs to be.
You
This is a
combine
really old
filters,
file.
like you combine maybe because sometimes it could show you high A cost and it didn't get enough clicks. So
Right.
you can base it on not enough data.
Yeah, you can
You can
filter by
combine.
condition,
Oh, okay.
Greater than. You can apply all kinds of things, but you're still condensing
Okay.
everything to all of the keywords that you're bidding on, and you can see things in your max bid columns. The one
Nice.
weird thing about a bulk file, and this one's already been formatted, so I don't think there's a problem. Sometimes this max bid column, the cell will be blank.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Why?
And when that happens, it is because it's set to the default bid. And when it's only set to the default bid and you've never changed it, then Amazon, it only records it at the ad group level. So what you would have to do is say, pretend this one was blank. I would have to go find ad group 11 and say, what's the default bid on my ad group 11? And that's what the bid is here.
Or you can just update it one time, you just go and see average PPC and maybe update by the average and then adjust it later, no?
Yeah, or I mean, if you want to, I actually have, because this problem drove me crazy. It's really annoying to have to get around. We have systems that auto check for it and fill it in for us. But I wrote a spreadsheet formula that I have up in my channel. The caveat is it only works for Google Sheets. I made another formula that works in Excel because it works off an array formula, and Excel is super weird about arrays. But if you go watch that, and then there's a link to a PDF, it actually has a formula that shows you how to quickly fix all that before you go in and make your bid changes.
Yeah, guys, check our channel. It's jungler.com on YouTube. I'll put links down below in the video.
Yeah, we can put it somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you see a blank, don't freak out. No, that's normal. And that's how you would go find that. The other caveat is when you download these files, any number value is actually stored as text.
Yeah, that's so annoying. Yeah.
So if I went to filter these, it won't filter properly. So you can reformat it in Google Sheets. It's a little bit easier. You just select the row.
But Excel, it's a nightmare, right? I hate it.
No, it's not that bad. You have to so what you'll do, honestly, the easiest way is if I hit Control down and then I hold Shift Control over, let me see. Basically, you just highlight the entire thing. At the top of wherever you've highlighted, you'll see like a little, like a error, and you click on it and it says, do you want to format this as a number?
I saw it in one of your videos. But then I tried to replicate this and it didn't work.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You just have to keep kind of playing with it.
Yeah.
You can, I think it's you can right click format something as well.
Yeah. Is there any formula I can apply, like a macro that will just do it for all of them, or there is?
So if you want to write a macro for it, but the problem is Google Sheets, even if you record a macro, it's recorded native to the sheet.
Yeah, I remember. I tried it actually. Yeah, I remember. And then when you upload a new file, you have to
Yeah. So unless that's getting into the weeds for sure about programming those not native and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at Google Sheets, it's not hard. Basically, you could just select all of these and you just hit format as number.
Number.
And then it'll be kind of weird. So if you want to decrease the decimal place, you could, and then just click spend as a dollar, sales as a dollar, a cost as a percent. It's not that tricky to do.
Yeah.
It just takes a couple more seconds.
Okay. Nice. So what you will check? You will check regularly, like for negatives. What you guys check, like, and
Yeah,
how
so
you decide when
negatives you
to.
would find in the search term reports. The best way to find a negative would be to search term report, filters, orders, clicks highest to lowest, and then only look at 0 orders. You can do that either by total orders or blank values for the ACOS column. And that will bring to the top anything that has a lot of clicks and no sales, and then you can go in and add that as a negative.
What is your recommendation, like, for number of clicks? Like, of course, it's not black and white, but like above certain keywords, you will add it as a negative, like broad, or like how you approach this.
So I'm more reluctant than some to add negatives, but I don't avoid adding negatives. And it really, really depends on the account. So the way we manage is much more hands-on. It takes more effort. It's not going to be everything with 15 clicks and no sales, go at it as a negative. That's not how we approach it. So what we would do, and like it depends on the account. So if you have someone who is very, very worried about budget, if you're super worried about budget, you would be much more likely to add a negative. For instance, if you have your main keyword, like it's a main keyword, you definitely want to be advertising on this. It's something very relevant to the product. But if maybe your product is very new and you don't have any reviews, your performance on that main keyword might be really, really poor. And so you might have like 30 clicks, no sales, and you're looking at the search term report going, this is relevant. Maybe I don't want to negate it. But if you have a very limited budget, a bunch of your spend is just getting sucked out the window. So maybe at least for now, go in and add that negative so you can reallocate that spend to things that work and then revisit it at a later time. So the way we approach negatives is much more nuanced. There's a lot more if.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also like that.
Yeah.
And with bid adjustments, like, bid adjustments is a little tricky for people because sometimes they just optimize it either too fast or just waiting too long. Like, also with that, like how you approach it, like you wait 7 days, like couple of days to get enough data. Sometimes you have a keyword that shows maybe in the last 20 days that it's not performing well, but someone that really knows the account and the product knows that it's a good keyword, and you might just decrease the bid or something and not get any more impressions and clicks for a good keyword. So how you kind of find this like fine line on how and when to change like the bid?
Yeah, so what we do internally is at the level of like crazy conspiracy guy. I mean, we are constantly trying to find ways to build systems around scenarios exactly like the one that you just described. Because to be honest, a human insight into the campaigns, at some level, it's just numbers. But if you know the account very well, you're probably going to come up with much better bid adjustments if you know what you're doing. I mean, if you understand how things work, you're probably going to do much better bid adjustments than just a straight machine churning through the numbers.
For sure. We in our head, we have the relevancy. We know what the keyword, what like what's the intent behind them. What is all of this that machine can't really know,
Right. And so the caveat is going to be, but can you do that at scale?
Yeah.
So the benefit of using a system like this, a bulk file, is you can look at things at scale because it's condensed. However, we have 16 accounts, and multiple accounts that we have are in multiple different marketplaces. So it's basically like managing 5 different accounts. So if I were to try and thousands of SKUs in some of them. So if I were to go through that mentally, trying to match the SKU to, at some level, your brain, by the end of the day, you're just not even making good decisions.
For sure.
So that's where it's beneficial to have a system that runs through things. And then even after our system runs through things, we have a couple manual checks. We go through that end result list before we actually okay those changes.
Yeah, it's an art. It's profession. That's why.
I mean, at the very end of the day, what you're going to have is you're going to have a target ACOS, And you're going to say what is above and what is below my target ACoS, what has multiple clicks and no sales, and what has 0 impressions. And to be honest, those are the 4 things keywords fall into. We honestly have 5 because we look at things that have upwards of, we call it like our top tolerance ACoS. Most accounts that's 100%. So if anything's running above 100%, we definitely want to like dig into that. However, we have the ability, like I said, we get super into it. So we have the ability to set whatever we want the top tolerance. For instance, a supplement, you might go up to 200% because those are crazy. So we didn't want that hard coded. But I mean, and then depending on where it falls into those 4 categories, then, make your adjustments based on based on that.
Oh, great. So, I have a question. So, when I first downloaded, the bulk file and used it, for first time, I downloaded, like you said, like the whole thing, and then I did some bit adjustments, and I just upload the file. Now, what it did try to update everything that I have on my account. My question is, how you actually and I found a solution for that, but I didn't really like it. It was kind of bulky. I didn't like it. I would just want to take specific keywords that I want to adjust and just update them, not everything. Because I don't know, it's a room for mistakes or issues. I don't know. I don't like to update.
Yeah. So what you could do, if you only want to do the keywords, you could copy all of this. Just sit over here and copy. Paste it into a brand new sheet.
The filtered view.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And you can paste in a brand new sheet, and then only the data that you've uploaded is what's going to be changed.
Oh, okay.
The only time you need everything is if you're creating from scratch. So for instance, if I'm creating a new campaign, I need to have my campaign, I need the ad group, I need the products, I need all the keywords. Once my campaign is in there, I can reference that campaign by just inputting the campaign name here. So for instance, this is a keyword row. If I wanted to add a new keyword, I would need to tell Amazon it's a keyword. I need to tell Amazon what the campaign name is. I need the ad group name. I need my bid. I need the keyword. I need the match type. And then I need to tell Amazon I want to turn it on. And that's all I need. So let me go here to a condensed view. This is like a template. This is much cleaner. So I need to give
whatever
Amazon,
you're going to update, right?
Right. So for instance, the keyword.
Yeah.
This is all I need for a keyword row. So if you want to add a single keyword to a campaign, I mean, it's probably faster just to do that manually, if I'm being honest. But if you wanted to, you could do that here. Or if you want to update the bid for a single keyword, just go in here, say it's this one. I would just copy this row, make sure you have the headers. The headers tell Amazon what's contained within this column. So you have to have the headers and you have to have all the data points that Amazon requires to make the change. But as long as you have those, you don't have to upload the whole sheet.
That's very powerful because, a lot of the time what I did is I would go to Seller Central. I would go to an auto campaign. I used to harvest and find new keywords. And I would just go to search terms, find those terms, then compare it, whether I have them in the manual campaign, and then copy one by one and do it like a really time-consuming task.
Yes.
And it was fine, when you manage like, fewer campaigns or products. But now that I have like even 10, 15 campaigns per product, and I have like 30 products, and like it's crazy efforts. And I was finding myself until I got, the practice with the bulk files, like spending, like I didn't have enough time. So I would just work on one product every day, like, and then just, work like that every day on a new product. So yeah, it's very powerful.
Yeah.
The main things are like you said, bid adjustments, maybe adding new keywords. It's very powerful. Negatives.
Yes. So, I mean, that's where I got into the beginning when I say the power of spreadsheets. So if you know how to use spreadsheets, all it is knowing the formatting you need to give Amazon the information it needs to make the change. And so the learning curve is understanding the formatting. Once you get the formatting, and if you have an understanding of sheets, then your mind starts working on how can I do this faster. For instance, I got tired of adding negatives. You can add them very quickly if you know formatting, and you can paste things down, but there's a faster way to do it. So what I did is I created a sheet for myself. I can go in, I can pull a search term report, do that filtering, how I told you before, clicks highest to lowest, 0 orders. I can just copy all the lines that I want to add the negatives on, because they contain the campaign name, the ad group name, the search term that I want to negate, and I can paste it into my sheet and it will auto spit out a whole bulk file for me that I simply copy, download, upload to Amazon. There's no sorting of things. And so I mean, there's ways you can do things fast, but the tricky part is learning the formatting. And that's why I put out so much content on our channel about bulk files. It's a lot of here's how you do this, here's the formatting. There's also some tools that I've had just sitting there. They were old tools I created. We have better things now, so I might as well share. But yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So if I explain it maybe or to understand it better, so the advanced tactics, it's not really something really advanced. It's connecting the formulas and the power of Excel or Google Sheets with what we already know. So that's
Yes.
where the power comes. I'm going to dig more. I have a lot more to learn about Excel and all of this. This is an area that I'm not really, strong at, but, I'm willing to have this learning curve and learn. And I think that, if one of the questions that I had here was like, whether you think that working with bulk files could give you this advantage over your competitors. So yes, it's for sure, because you move things much faster. You're much more
Yes.
efficient, and that's for sure an advantage. And so the learning curve definitely worth it. People sometimes scared of new things, but look at it from a point of view that it can take you. You have better performance than your competitors.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Yeah,
I think the main thing most people seek out bulk files for is for the bid adjustments.
for sure.
Because at some level it gets tedious if you're inside of campaigns, and very inefficient. If you have 1 or 2 campaigns, it's probably more efficient to do it inside Campaign Manager. The benefit of doing it inside Campaign Manager is you can compare date ranges. There is more things you can do inside of Campaign Manager, but this allows you to do things in a much, much larger scale. And then you no longer have to be afraid of creating multiple campaigns. I've seen so many times where sellers, they'll have maybe even a million different ad groups, which to be honest is not very efficient either, because you still have to click into each ad group. But they're much more reluctant to really leverage what you have in advertising, because the amount of time and effort it takes to manage things.
Yeah. I see it
Where
from
if you do
even
things with a bulk
very
file.
successful sellers, actually.
Yes.
I know a 8-figure seller that told me I don't create a lot, like 2 or 3 campaigns only for that reason.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's wrong, everyone have their own way of thinking, but I think that it's a way of limiting, you're limiting yourself.
Yeah.
You just learn this new skill and you have this power of all these uh, because why you want to create a new campaign to have a different tactic, something that is separated, you can measure and adjust quickly. So I'm with you on that. And is there anything else that you suggest to people to learn or dig deeper into bulk files, other than watching your videos? Because it's a complex topic for sure, and you learn by watching, whether others or practicing yourself. But is there anything else that you want to add here about this?
I would say, yeah, just go ahead and learn, and just download. The other thing you can download is if you go into the bulk files, there is a template. To be honest, last time I downloaded, I think some of the columns are off, so maybe not.
Then it can give you
Although
errors.
I do have several templates and things you can look at underneath my videos. We have a link to a lot of different Google Sheets. But the main thing, again, is going to be learning the formatting, what goes where. That's where most people fail. when they get errors, it's because, I mean, I have quite a few people emailing me, this one didn't go through, this one go through, and because I know the formatting very well, I can take a look, oh, you missed this, you missed that.
Yeah.
So once you get past the learning curve and you understand what's where, if you have time to watch a longer video and you don't need to make bit adjustments now, I suggest you go watch my video I have on using a blank bulk file template. I believe I start walking through, this is what this line is, this is what, and then we go through a campaign creation, and it helps you understand in a much cleaner versus having to look at all this mess what goes where. To be honest, it's an old video. I don't know if I'm super articulate, but the data is correct and good. If you need to make quick bit adjustments, I do have a video on how to quickly make bit adjustments in a bulk file. You can watch that, or this will probably give you enough information.
Okay, yeah, great. You guys watch this video. I'm going to watch it as well. If I didn't watch it, I'm not sure like how many videos I watch in your channel, but it's very informative. Um, for those that want to contact you, learn more about your services and all of that, where they can find you and learn more about you.
Yeah, so the best way to get in contact if you're interested would be our website, which is jungler.com, JUNGLR.com. There is an intake form at the bottom of the page, and I'm still taking all of those. So if you're interested, to be honest, our client space is getting more limited. So we tend to focus on a little bigger brands because that's where we can leverage the systems we've built. But if you're really interested in services, I'm more than happy to talk with you. That would be the best way to get in contact.
Yeah, and check her YouTube channel.
Yes. Yeah. If you want to learn about that or have suggestions, leave a comment. I think just about every comment is answered under the.
Great. It was really awesome video, and I appreciate the time you took and the file you prepared and shared with us. I learned quite new things here with you, and I'm sure like the rest of the viewers will learn many things. So I really appreciate it. I wish you really to enjoy the rest of the day, and hopefully we can have another video, and you can be a guest again on the channel in the future.
Yeah. I'd love to. Anytime.
Yes, thank you, Elizabeth. Have a good one.
Hey, you too.